Welcome back to Astrology, Angels, and More. I'm your host, Mary Silvernail, and today is the date of the filming, May the 11th, 2022. A lot of things are going on up in the heavens right now with the planets, including right now is Mercury retrograde. So we'll be talking about that, but first, I would love to wish all my Taurian friends, everyone in the audience that's Taurus, happy birthday to you, Taurus. Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac, with Venus, beautiful Venus, the planet of love, as its ruling planet. Green is the color associated with Taurus, although many Taurians adore the color blue. I have to tell you, I'm a Taurus, and I love blue. Taurus is loyal, persistent, stubborn, oh boy, determined, and realistic. But they make the best friends of the entire zodiac because they're very loyal. Many are bankers, accountants, or real estate brokers. Now, with Pluto still retrograde and will remain retrograde through October the 7th of this year, it opens a window that's already been happening since the end of April. A window of an intense transformation for everyone. A lot of things are changing. A lot of things. You'll notice a lot of change in your life this year, no matter what sign you are. Now, from May the 10th, which was yesterday, through June the 3rd, Mercury is retrograde. Now, as you know already, it's not the best time to sign contracts, and it can mean delays or miscommunications, which I have to tell you, I've already been seeing a few of those things today. This is a time, though, really, to slow down and to not act on impulse. That's really all it means. And to ready yourself for something, preparing for something that you're looking forward to, so that you're all ready to go after Mercury goes direct. Very good time for preparation. It's really a time for you to tune in to what makes you feel good, what personally makes you feel good. And that will raise your vibration. And it'll make you feel really good, especially this time of the year. Because we're going to also, later on this month, be going into Gemini. And the ruler of Gemini is actually Mercury. So, which can be a very good thing because Mercury feels very comfortable in the sign of Gemini. Now, today, May the 11th, beautiful, lucky Jupiter moves into Aries. And it gives a boost in motivation and encourages us to follow our dreams. Now, on May 16th, we have an eclipse. We have a total lunar eclipse. It's the Scorpio full moon, also known as the blood flower moon. Now, this supercharged full moon has everything to do with fate. Are you a believer in fate? You may be, especially after you experience this Scorpio full moon, this total lunar eclipse. It has everything to do with fate taking over and bringing things to the next level, which is a very good thing. There are major changes and surprising revelations. Now, that's on an individual, personal basis, but also worldwide. And this is something that I've discussed before in reference to this year, 2022. A lot of things will rise to the surface. Things that have been hidden will be known worldwide. There's joy and hope where there had been none before. Now, focus on something positive, and it will stimulate positive feelings. If you're thinking about something upsetting or sad, just change that thought to something that is really beautiful to you. Something, a place you have been, perhaps on vacation, or just imagining your child's face in front of you, maybe even the first time you ever held your child in your arms when they were born. And that will immediately stimulate some positive feelings. Now, on a higher level, this eclipse is about winning the spiritual war over evil. Many highly evolved souls are very aware of what I'm talking about. There has been a spiritual war that has been taking place on the higher realms. But this is the time where fate, there's that word again, fate, has taken the reins, which is really a good thing, because it is fate that the war will be won against evil. This eclipse also brings resolution to an issue that you may have had if you think back to November of 2021. So just think back to that period of time, November 2021. The alignment of the stars at that time created a situation that began. And now it's come full circle at the time of this lunar eclipse. Now is the time to let go of the past and to move forward. Now, on May 20th, the sun will be entering Gemini. You know, it's a great time at the time. When the sun is in Gemini, it's a great time to go out and play, to have a good time out of life by visiting friends and going to social events. And even if you decide that you want to learn something new, it's a great time when the sun is in the sign of Gemini. Great time for communication. Now, on May 30th, there will be the Gemini New Moon. Now, the duality of Gemini draws us toward multiple projects and pathways. This is a time of a lot of activities, a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching, and really looking to find an answer. And usually at the time of the Gemini New Moon is when you do find that answer. Especially good for a new start. But it's a time of a lot of activities. This is also a great time of communicating your feelings. If you've been holding in a feeling and were concerned about how it would be received, perhaps with a loved one, maybe even your boss, the time of the Gemini New Moon is when you could find the perfect wording to be able to express how you really feel. And it'll bring back a state of ease, peace, and also allowing you to access great joy. The Gemini New Moon is a beautiful, beautiful time. The Scorpio full moon, though, in the middle of the month, extremely intense and a time of transformation. However, the Gemini New Moon at the end of the month is a time of great joy. Now, this is the month to reset and move towards our life's purpose in this incarnation. This is the time of our soul's evolution. Actually, around May 20th, it lasts for quite a while, is the time of the alignment that we have with Pleiades. The exact date is May 20th. However, the energy of that portal opening is really going on this month. So at this time, the sun aligns with the Pleiades, that star system, a magical, magical star system, revered by many ancient cultures, allowing us to receive and download messages from these stars with greater ease. The Pleiades have long been believed to be home to an advanced alien race, and many on Earth feel connected to the Pleiades. So this is really a fabulous month. A lot of energies going on, a lot of beautiful energies, very strong energies, especially since we're dealing with Pluto retrograde, Mercury retrograde. This is true. However, by the time of month's end, we'll be on a whole new beautiful path. Now, my guest tonight, I'm sure you're going to enjoy very much. Actually, the interview had been previously taped, and who my guest is tonight is a wonderful author, psychic, medium, and a healer, Rita Gigante. And I'm really looking forward to you listening to what she has to say, because it's a very interesting interview. She's the author of a couple of books, and her life story is tremendously interesting, and she's a wonderful healer. So now, without further ado, we're going to go to the interview with Rita. I hope you enjoy it. And then we'll be back. Hi, Rita.
Hi,
Welcome. Hi. I'm so glad you could join our show today.
thank you. And happy to be here.
Oh, yeah. I've been looking forward to interviewing you. So, welcome to Astrology, Angels, and More. Now, I'd like to introduce our guest, Rita Gigante, and she is a psychic medium, healer, and author. And I'm really interested in all the information that you have to share with us today and how it can help people in their lives. So,
Sure.
Rita, go right ahead. Now, introduce yourself, please, to the audience as far as
Sure.
like what you would like to tell them about you.
So I'm a psychic medium healer, and I've wrote 2 books, but my work has been progressing for about, I would say, the last 20 years. So
Okay.
I always knew I was an empath, um, but I didn't know what that meant at a very early age. I was 5 years old when I had my first anxiety attack. I was 7 years old when I had my first panic attack, and then
Oh,
and then I had a lot of uh, trauma in my early childhood. So then
okay.
OCD kicked in around the age of 10, which kind of became my friend at the time, because still is my friend, because it allowed me to create a safe space for myself,
Oh,
even though it was a pain in the ass. It almost gave me the sense of, I had some type of control, which we all know, we're not in control. But when you're young and you experience that kind of trauma, you're grabbing onto something that can help you get through the pieces of your life. And so I grew up in an Italian Catholic family.
mm-hmm.
Um, and if anybody understands any of that, it's, the women uh, are to behave a certain way. The men have a lot more leeway when it comes to living. And I also grew up in a family that would suppress women. Um, and
Oh,
and that was because of my father, who was the the boss of the Genovese crime family.
I
Um,
see.
so he ruled, in a way that we all pretty much stood in line and did whatever it was that we needed to do to help him. And my mom was a very, very devout Catholic, good human being. She had really no idea what she was uh, getting into, so to speak. And she didn't know it till after she was married and having children. And in that world, in the Catholic Italian world, you don't leave, you don't get divorced. But she loved him very deeply. And these traumas that happened to me as a child were based on what was going on in the life. But what happened was, I was realizing I couldn't tell the difference between my own anxiety and somebody else's, which was, I was extremely sensitive. I was an empath, but nobody knew what that meant then. And, nobody was, wanting to get me help for it, because they didn't know what it was. They just thought it was just anxiety,
Yes, I see.
or that I had a weak constitution, and, as I moved forward in the life, I became more sensitive. So I'd have to say my first gift was to be clairsentient, because I was an empath. I would go in and out of my mother's energy to help her.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I'm I didn't understand that that's what was happening, but that's what was happening. And it actually, there was a time where I kind of went into her energy and um, didn't feel like I could come out of it. Like I didn't feel like I could separate it. So what happened was that was at the age of 7. I ended up having a panic attack because of it.
What happened to
So
you when you had the
that,
panic attack? Like, how was that exhibited?
yeah. So for me, it's kind of like having a hot flash. From my head to my toes, it's like everything drains out of me. My heart starts to race really fast. I come out
Oh,
of my body because I come out of my body because it's like I need to separate from this. It's too much, you know.
yes. Yes.
So and the whole like I want to throw up. I'm dizzy. I'm lightheaded. The whole thing. And but what it did was it yanked me out of her energy, and that was the last time I did that. Now I didn't know that that's what I was doing. You have to understand. I'm
You were
5 years
7.
old,
Yeah.
right? Five
Little
years old,
girl.
trying to help her.
Yeah.
I've witnessed many, many things that were traumatic. I have still working through some PTSD, but so much better since I've done, since I've acclimated to the work and how spirit brought it to me very gently and throughout the course of my life. They put people in front of me that could actually help me deal with the traumas and things like that. So I work with a lot of people who have anxiety, panic, OCD, trauma. Um, and I've worked with, anybody from the age of, I've worked on infants all the way up into people's 90s, helping people cross over. Um, and so for me, the gifts, the claircognizant came next, which is the knowing.
Yes.
I didn't know how I knew things. I just knew them, and I was able to really connect to people in a way, didn't matter who they were, but I can relate to them and they could see that. And it became apparent that people would come to me for advice as early as my high school years, and I always knew I wanted to help people. I just didn't know to what extent it was going to be. And I had no idea the kind of suppression I was going to experience from my family, because what was expected of me was to get married, have kids, and take care of my mother. I was the youngest in my family.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to fight the battle of that's not going to be me. And the other battle was I'm gay. So now I am living a life where my mother is petrified from my soul because of the belief of the Catholic religion, which I kind of just left behind a long time ago because it never resonated with me. I took what resonated from there with me,
Right.
so that I could do my work, and the rest I just left behind. So and a father who ruled, a whole different family, we'll say, and that became the forefront of everything. So there was a lot of waiting for the shoe to drop, so to speak. Whether it be coming from my father or the federal government or another family, you name it. Another crime family, I should say. You name it. It was
the anxiety. Yeah. My goodness.
Oh, the anxiety was way off the charts. The depression. Well, I mean, I had been through the dark night of the soul at least 3 times in this life.
Wow.
So, but
that's what makes you a very highly elevated soul.
Well, it actually, people ask me all the time, what would you go back and change? And I'd say not a thing, because it got me exactly where I needed to be with spirit, to be able to help people. And you can't put a price on that, Mary. You just can't.
No, no, you can't. The best healers, truly, the most gifted healers, the most blessed healers are the wounded healers,
Yes.
the ones that have walked through the wounds. And it certainly sounds like you did. And I'm sorry about that. However, it's true what you said. If you hadn't gone through all that, you wouldn't be able to do the work you do right now.
Exactly. Every time I overcome something or I'm working with somebody, because, every time I work, I'm like, somehow I'm looking in a mirror here at that person, right? So every time I'm working with them and helping them bring the energy in, because they heal themselves, but I'm also getting a healing from it. And sometimes I become the student and they're the teacher for me. Like there's this beautiful dynamic when you work with people, whether it's in a group or just one-on-one.
Yes.
So what brings me the most joy is that day to day, who am I going to be able to help get to a place where they know that they can overcome whatever it is in their life,
That's divine.
Yeah. It's
Divine.
it's divine for anybody that can, and people should know that we all have gifts. Like, you and I are not different than anybody else in this world. It really depends on who wants to utilize the gifts, how they want to utilize the gifts, if they're doing it like we're doing it, or if they're doing it for family members, or just doing it for the world, like just being a light for the world.
Exactly. But the thing is that the person needs to be able to open up their heart to it, and
Absolutely.
some people are so pre-programmed, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or they're in a lot of fear. They see it, they see the light, they want to connect to it, and there's all this fear around, but I don't deserve it. But what if I can't? And it really it's everybody's deserving.
What I just loved what you said before, that the clients that you have, the people that come to you that you have done healings for, that it's really them healing themselves.
Absolutely.
You're just the guide, right? I mean, that's key, really. That's really key.
And
That's a big
Spirit tells me all the time, you're doing the service that you're supposed to be doing. When you're done, it is up to them. It's like leading the horse to the water, and hopefully they take a nice big drink and they move forward. But we do the best we can to create a safe space, because I'm really big on creating a safe space for people, because I didn't have that kind of safety net growing up. And it's so important, because Spirit calls me the secret keeper, because, and that's, I got to tell you, that actually came from my family, because we had to keep a lot of secrets. So I was good at that. But the difference here is, people are telling you things that they don't necessarily can tell someone else in their family or can share. And so you're the sounding board, and the one that says, your secret's safe here. It goes nowhere beyond this point. And that opens up a door that may not be able to be open at.
Absolutely. There has to be that trust there. You're right, that feeling so safe.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And that's what you create for them, that safe space, right?
It's important, very important.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me, because many times in a family that has some dysfunction, many times there is one member of the family that seems to be the secret keeper.
Right.
And that's hard. That's hard to carry.
Yeah.
That just touched me, what you just said. That
Yeah,
touched me a
I
lot.
have to admit that, you know, the whole family had to do that on behalf. It's just it didn't feel good to me because
Right.
you know, it weren't my secrets to have to keep. But of course, you're in this, you know, you're in a family and you love them and you want to protect them. And at the
Yes.
same time, you're grappling with your own knowing of, yeah, this isn't right. Yeah, this isn't good. Like this is you're actually compromising yourself for, you know, sacrificing yourself for, you know, for the family. And at one point I just couldn't do that anymore. I just
Well,
separated myself.
especially because you're so connected to light.
Right.
That was very difficult for you
And I had to carry
because,
my own secrets about being gay and all of that. And I was physically ill anytime I couldn't speak my truth. Physically ill. So it was either my stomach or my ears, nose, and throat because I wasn't speaking my truth, you know. And so I was tired of being sick. I had
but
to change something.
your life is completely different now,
Oh my God. It's
right?
my God.
Right?
I thank God every day, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, love, um, you know, every day for that because
And
I I get up and love what I do. There's not a lot of people that can say that, you know.
I have to agree with you. I get up every day and love what I do.
Yeah, yeah,
I really do. I got to tell you, you and I have a lot in common.
yeah.
You know,
It's
that's why it's so interesting interviewing you. So now, what are you up to now? Like, what's going on? What are you doing? Because before I had noticed those paintings behind you of those adorable white dogs.
yeah,
Did you, who
yeah.
are they?
So these are our animals that have passed. We still have one with us. I
Yes.
don't know if you'll be able to see his picture. That's him.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Chewy. He's with
What
us still.
what
And
kind of dogs are they?
so Shih Tzu, um, Sarah here in the middle, she was a terrier and a little bit of a shepherd. And
Oh,
we didn't know what Angel was. Angel was his name. Um, he we couldn't tell. He was long haired at first when he came to us. He is a very interesting story with him because he came from Chile and he was in the earthquake in Chile. And a
my
woman brought
gosh.
him back, saved him, and another dog. And there was a mutual friend of hers and mine that were looking to, you know, because she already had 5 dogs she couldn't keep. And
Uh-huh.
initially, it wasn't him that she was getting rid of, it was the other dog. But when I got there, he immediately came to me, put his head between my legs, and wouldn't move. And what I come to realize, what Spirit said to me afterwards, is she wouldn't have removed his leg, which was completely destroyed. He couldn't feel anything in it. And because she wouldn't have removed his leg, it would have gotten infected and he would have passed. And so I took him, got the leg removed, had him adjust to living like that. And he was my best friend, my
Oh,
best friend.
wow. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, he
Wrote a
found
book about
you.
his story.
He
Yeah.
found you. Oh, you wrote a book about his story? Oh,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, at the end of the show, you know, we have email addresses up for the studio and for myself and anyone who's interested in any of the information that you're giving here today. You know,
Yep.
they can contact the studio and get more information
Yep. I did a
on
memoir of
everything.
my life. That was the first one. I did a memoir of my life, and then I did this book, and because I always wanted to write a children's book.
Oh, so they're both published now.
Yes.
Yes, that's wonderful. That's
Thank you.
wonderful. Well, why don't you tell the audience and me,
Sure.
because I'm interested very much, about your work with angels.
Wow, that's been
And
an ongoing, very lovely exchange. And I work with the archangels, predominantly Michael and Raphael, but Gabriel has been there, and so has Uriel. It's just predominantly Raphael and Michael seem to be the ones who connect to me. Um, I work with the not just the angels though. I work with the masters. So Jesus, Mary, Mary Magdalene, Isis, Buddha, you name it. It really depends on the person who's coming in or I'm speaking with who comes to work with me. So I don't necessarily say, well, this is the only ones I work with. Um, because spirit has shown me that some people would be better off working with this energy, and this one would be better off working with another energy. And sometimes it's just the angels. I was given actually, a friend of mine was given a vision for me about the angels. And so there was these, they looked like they were, like she said, 10 feet tall. They were surrounding me. I was walking towards her, and we were outside where my mother used to live, and we were about to go swimming. And when I walked out, she just saw this like illumination of three angels that surrounded me. And then she said to me, she got the message that I work with a legion of angels because of my father's life, because of the life I was going to walk. And I was in my 20s when that happened.
yes,
Right. So I knew the
yes,
angels were with me. I knew that they protected me. I knew that, and I knew that they would want to work with me. And so they come in and out, as I'm working, as well as the guides, the masters. You know, it's just there's not, what I find with spirit is it's like you have a tool box, right? Or you have and
yeah,
they just, each time I work with somebody, tools are picked out. So to help them, whether it be, chakras or the angels or whatever. And it's
yeah.
very eclectic. It's not one thing. Like I can't promote myself as even though I have Reiki certification, I can't promote myself as just Reiki,
I
because
understand. You're believe me, you're
yeah,
preaching to the choir. That's
yeah,
like you and I have a lot in common. Yeah, I love it. That to me, that shows me just how high of a level of blessing that has been bestowed upon you. That's wonderful. So whoever is going to come in and help you, huh?
yeah.
With
That's
the
and I
situation,
leave
help the
it.
person.
I remember Spirit saying to me one time, because I used to get nervous working, like I wanted to make sure I did the best, and Spirit said to me, uh, it's none of your business what happens here. Like, just be the conduit and don't worry about it.
There
And
you go.
just let us do what we have to do. And I'm like, that gave me such relief, because here I am thinking, I had something to do with this. And very, they're funny. The energies that I work with are funny because that's how I have a sense of humor, and they know if like I need that, you know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
just look at me and they're like, here we go again with this one, you know, just be the conduit. Whatever information you get, you give, you don't worry about it after that.
That's
It's that kind of thing.
that's
And so now I just allow, and I just say, they know best what this person needs. I I certainly wouldn't know, I'm human still, and so the hardest I think for me sometimes is family members, because you know them so well, and sometimes I can get a read, and sometimes I'm like, you need to go to somebody else, because I don't want to interpret things for you, because I know you so well, you know.
that's true.
The beauty of
That's
my
true.
readings, which I love, is people, people think like if they come to me again, they'll go, you remember that the last time. And I'm like, no, I don't, because the beauty is spirit goes, gone. We're not leaving you with
Exactly.
any of it. Yeah,
Exactly.
because
Same thing
I,
happens to me, Rita. That's
yeah,
exactly. People get
I
annoyed
can't
because
hold on to people's stuff. Then I'd be
no,
like that feeling when I was a kid of holding on to everybody's shit, you know?
it just comes in
So,
because you connect with spirit, you
right,
give it to the person, and then it
right.
leaves you. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And it sure sounds to me, I mean, this is just my opinion, that you're doing a lot more than Reiki.
Oh,
And
Reiki.
you're
I don't
doing
even really
healing.
use Reiki, to be honest with you. If I'm prompted by spirit to use some of the symbols, they'll just tell me what to use and where.
Right.
But I've connected very deeply to the chakras.
Yeah.
And I do, I mean, I am seeing some people in person, but I'll tell you the truth. The Zoom, the distance healing, the distance, uh, how do I want to say it, readings and stuff are so effective, because it's even more effective because I'm not in the energy with them. When I'm done, I'm done. You know what I mean?
I
So when people
understand.
say to me, I'd rather see you in person because I don't feel like you get the same reading, and it's just not true.
That's not true. Believe me, the work that I do also, I agree with you 100%. A
Yeah.
100%. Sometimes, even just when I do a telephone reading, it's stronger than and more powerful than when I'm actually present with the person. So I know what you mean. I
Yeah.
know what you mean.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, you and I are on the same page. Wow, that's wonderful. So what else is going on right now? Let me see. You're the author of 2 books. That's a big deal. You have a
Right.
practice of healing,
Yep.
and you're seeing people on a regular basis, Zoom, and sometimes in person. And so what else is going on?
So I'm working on the third book. I have, everything that I think I want to put into it. I haven't began the writing process because I write my ideas down first, and I'm a writer in the sense like I have to use, I don't know if you could see it, the pen. I don't do the thing on the computer yet, because when I do write, and some people don't understand this, but when you write, your hand, your arm, your shoulder, it's all connected to the heart. So when you physically write, if you're journaling or whatever you're doing, and you're writing in that sense, you're clearing the heart chakra each time you do it.
Yes,
So,
that's wonderful. That's important what you're telling our audience right now. Yeah.
right. So it's much better for me, um, even though sometimes I can't understand my own handwriting because I'm writing fast, but it's better for me to do it that way than for me to do it, on a computer. So I'm in the process of doing that now. Hay House is who published my book, but I have all my rights back now, so I'm going to be doing some stuff with that.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
You
and
know, several years ago, I had seen a television show you were on Tuning Into Your Angels.
mm,
Thomas Knights Templar. He's a friend of mine. I think he's also an acquaintance, a friend of yours too.
yes,
And he was telling me how impressed he was with you, with your
oh,
knowledge with angels,
right.
and how you work with the angels, but also work with spirit. So that's why I've really been looking forward to interviewing you.
Thank you.
You've done some fabulous work. And I mean, that television show, it goes back many years,
Many
right?
years,
That
yes.
was, how
Yeah,
long ago was that? That was a long
God,
time ago, too. So you've
probably
been
at least.
doing this work. How long have you been doing this work?
I started it actually started in massage school for me, because I was in my 20s, and I realized that when I started to put my hands on people, I could feel what was going on in their body, whether it was emotional, mental, spiritual, or physical. And I didn't know I was doing like mini readings or whatever, but I started to ask the people, like, what's going on with the liver? it seems, clogged or something's, or, are you on medication for high blood pressure? Because I'm feeling the pressure in your chest. And like things started to come to me and I realized, wow, okay, I didn't realize I could do this. I wasn't calling myself, anything but a healer at that point. And then spirit, once I did the whole massage school thing, spirit says, okay, she's ready for the other stuff now. She's ready for the readings, right?
Yes.
So little by little, they started uh, me doing readings. And then later on, my clairaudient, which is the hearing, and the clairvoyant, which is the seeing, was able to come forward. And now sometimes taste and smell, not as much as the others, but sometimes taste and smell. Um, so
Well,
that helped me tremendously. And I even taught um, in massage school. Once I was done, they had me become a teacher, and I was teaching this kind of work on top of anatomy and physiology, but I was teaching the energy piece of it, which people were loving, absolutely loving. And I was starting to get images and things for people, you know? And then I had no idea I was a medium until my father passed in 2005. And that's when I started to really understand I could speak to the other side. I could speak to animals. I could speak to trees. I could speak to whatever I wanted at that point. At that point, I had everything spirit wanted me to have. But what I was lacking, initially was confidence, because I wasn't sure if I was hearing right. I wasn't, I didn't want to come across like a, like I didn't know what I was doing.
right.
But the more I did it, the more I gave the information and got confirmation. And sometimes it takes people a week to get back to me and say, I can't believe I didn't know what you meant then, but now I know, you know. That's when I was like, okay, I just have to listen to spirit and know that. So it's happening. I'm 55. So it's happening for 20 some odd years now.
Yeah, but it really started all the way back. What did you say, when you were 5, 4,
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's actually
So
closer
see?
to 30 years.
Yeah, so this is this is your life,
Yeah. It's been my life all along without me knowing it.
your soul's
I,
purpose. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I knew at a very young age I wasn't going to be a 9 to 5, let me go to work person. Did a lot of odd jobs, but it was spirit that guided me and brought me to the right people that I needed to be connected to. So
Well, before we begin to wrap things up, is there
sure.
anything that you would like to share with the audience of how they'll be able to help themselves, especially getting through this very difficult period of time we've been going through, you know?
Yeah, I always tell people what's very helpful for me is the journaling. So the journaling is extremely helpful. Being in nature is so key at this point, connecting to the earth and staying centered and grounded. Protecting themselves on a daily basis from other lower vibrational energies. Um,
Yes.
yeah, the other thing that to me was helpful was to do mirror work. I just look in the mirror every day and I'm always looking at what am I responsible for? Forget everybody else. Even when I have an argument or something with somebody, I'm always looking at my piece as opposed to what they did to me. You
Right.
know, when you can be that honest with yourself, you really, I mean, that's self-love. You know what I mean? That really
Yes.
is self-love, and people need to understand self-love, forgiveness for the self. It's the only way that they can move forward with others, and be able to help others. So for me, I'm always looking at myself that way. Like how can I better myself here? How can I? And we're a work in progress. I mean, Mary, seriously, we're a work in progress. We're human. So we get these bodies that we borrow, but the spirit, we're all here seeing how far we can elevate ourselves, you know,
Exactly.
and that's really the biggest piece. Like, and you can do that in your work. You could do that in your, some people do their work and their spirit work together, like us. This is our job and it's our spirit work. Others have a job, but then they have their spirit work. And others refuse to, you know, come out of the third dimension, and because they're too fearful. And all you have to do for those people is pray, because they're not ready. And if they don't do it in this lifetime, they're going to do it in another.
Oh, yeah, it's part of evolution. It's
And so
also
many people ask me, does it ever end? I'm sorry, it doesn't. It doesn't end. You know, it's really how you move through it.
Yeah. That's it. That's well put. You know, I like that advice that you gave the audience about the journaling and the mirroring, especially,
Yeah.
you know, in nature. But the journaling, yeah, because lots of times what will happen is spirit will just come through you like an automatic writing when you actually physically write
Right.
with hand and pen, you know, instead of typing it. I agree with you on that, 100%, 100%. You know, when people come to see me for a past life regression, one of the things that I tell them is that before you go to sleep tonight, sit down with paper and pen and just write every single thing that you had noticed before you go to sleep. And the reason is because so much more comes out when they do that than just what they thought they remembered.
Right.
You know, because wow. And so that's how you write your books?
Yeah, pretty much. Once I begin to write, it's like I go into this space and then it just kind of happens. I just wait for spirit to, you know,
wow.
Yeah, it just flows. It just flows.
Lovely.
The last thing spirit would like me to say is,
Yes.
is that it would be very helpful for people to go back into their early days, especially to a time that was hurtful for them, or, you know, if they had a trauma, go back to that age and comfort the child that you were then, or the adult that you were then. You know, go back and tell them it's going to be okay, because they still don't know that. And that's what stops us from moving forward. So,
Wonderful
you know,
advice.
yeah, like the other day I had to do it because I have fear of flying, you know, and at the age of 10, I had a really bad experience with it. And so I had to go back to that 10-year-old and say, listen, we're safe. It's okay. And hug her and say, you know, you're good. We're going to do this. And then 2 Xanax, and then I was all right. But I'm just saying.
You crack me up. You crack me up.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, you have to laugh. If you don't laugh, forget it.
Oh, yeah. That's the truth.
Mary,
that's the truth.
Thank
But
you so
have
much.
offered excellent, excellent advice. I really appreciate you coming on today. And
so
I hope you'll come and join us again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you have so much beautiful information to share and advice. And I really appreciate it. You know, and like I had been saying before, any information that the audience would like in reference to anything about the show here today, all they have to do is contact me via email, and the email address is up at the end of the show. Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mary.
So God bless you.
God bless you.
Blessings to you, Rita. God bless the work that you do.
Thank you, honey. You too.
Many blessings. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the interview that you just watched with the amazing Rita Gigante. Thank you so much, Rita, for being on the show and sharing all that information and your life story and all the wonderful advice of healing. healing from the past. You know, and this month in particular is really about that. This May 2022. Now, if you want further information regarding anything that Rita had discussed, just simply email me. My email address is marysilvernail@gmail.com. It's at the end of the show, at the credits. And also, we're having a very special show in July about, I've been seeing, I have a friend of mine, well, actually two friends of mine, that takes pictures of visions that they see in the heavens, especially of the cloud formations that form as angels and other spiritual beings. And we really want to be able to share that with the audience. So in July, that's what that show will be about. So anyway, I would really appreciate it. Anyone in the audience who has any of those special kinds of pictures that they've taken of angels or visions of spiritual beings, please email me. At the end of the show is my email address, marysilvernail@gmail.com. I really look forward to reading about any of your testimonies of your experiences with angels and the spirit world. Looking forward to it. And please send us any of the pictures that you've taken and we could share it on the show. Many, many, many bright blessings to all of you. Many, many bright blessings. Sending you beautiful blessings. God bless you.